What is going on, cadets? Welcome back to the channel. I know it's been a while. A lot of things have gotten my way. I've been sick with COVID, got a new job, moved. A whole bunch of things have been happening in my life. But I did really good on this video last year when we did league winning advice, players you should be avoiding and targeting in your drafts this season. We are officially in August. You know what that means. It is draft season time. So without further ado, I'm going to jump right into the video.
Stops, spins, puts it forward for the touchdown. Wilson, wow! What a catch! Touchdown, Jets! That kid's amazing. Harris team is given time. He wants Jefferson, climbs the ladder. Oh my goodness! Loading. He's going to heave one for the front right. Palmer drops it in.
All right, here we are. Football season is here. It is the beginning of August. Guys, I have been doing some deep diving. I've been looking into value picks, people you should be avoiding, bust rate, etc., targets per share. I'm doing all the work for you. So do me a favor, drop a like and a follow on the video if you like fantasy football content. I'm here to give you league winning advice to get a step up on your league mates. We're here to bring home a trophy, like the trophy right here behind me. That is what it's all about, fellas. We're here to dominate our leagues. That's really all I can tell you. We're going to jump into this video right now. And without further ado, we're going to be talking about a guy that I'm going to be avoiding in drafts, Saquon Barkley. Now, I understand his situation has gotten brighter with him going over to the Eagles. And I know it looks tasty on the surface. But again, I made a similar video last season when we were talking about DeAndre Swift and Penny coming into this backfield. Now, my argument there was it could possibly be a committee. That really didn't end up happening. But my main fundamental argument for that backfield was Jalen Hurts continues to take touchdowns away from his running backs. Now, I know Saquon Barkley is a different beast. He's a different animal. He's a better prospect than DeAndre Swift and probably Rashad Penny combined. But Jalen Hurts had way too much success at the 1 yard line, first and goal, pushing the ball across for a touchdown. I really don't see the Eagles going away from that, from the amount of success they had. Now, I know Kelsey retiring kind of throws a wrench into that equation. We're not going to see we're still determining how successful they're going to be without Kelsey to see how much of a real cog piece he was on that offensive line. But I don't think they're going to start the season and not trying this. Jalen Hurts has averaged 10 plus touchdowns rushing per season since coming into the league. Let's flash forward. Saquon Barkley right now is being drafted as the RB6 in fantasy football. Now, that's back of the first round, early second round pick. I believe he's being drafted closer to his ceiling than his floor right now. If you really think about it, he's being drafted next to someone like Jahmyr Gibbs that will be behind the best offensive line in football, that will see an increase in touches and targets as a Detroit Lion. It's inevitable that he's going to see more touches from what he did his rookie season. The Eagles were ranked 20th in targets from the running back position last year. This is a team that does not like to throw the ball to the running back position. That's partly because of the offensive weapons they have with Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. They got a lot of pass catchers in this offense, so it makes sense. They were also ranked dead last in targets in 2022. So again, to kind of cement this point, I know Barkley will command a little more targets than DeAndre Swift, but this guy's not going to be catching 60 balls this season, okay? So it's going to limit his upside a little bit. We've kind of went through the touchdown with Jalen Hurts, possibly, stealing some touchdowns away from Barkley. And now we're talking about limited upside in PPR formats with catches. So in conclusion, I don't think Saquon Barkley has the ceiling I'm looking for when I'm talking drafting someone in the late first round, early second round. I'm looking for overall top 3 running back. Now, I don't think Saquon Barkley is going to be a bust by any means. I just think we're drafting him very close to his ceiling. I'd rather take a guy like Jameer Gibbs or Bijan Robinson before Barkley. Um, Hell, I think I might even take a Kyron Williams a little later in the second round before Barkley. But I'm gonna stay away from Barkley just based on what I've said with the lack of receptions in this offense that he's probably not gonna reach. He's probably not gonna reach 50 plus catches in this offense. The lack of touchdown upside. Jalen Hurts has averaged 10 plus touchdowns per season. That's a huge number, and I don't think it's going away. So yeah, I'm going to be staying away from Saquon Barkley this year. I recommend you do the same. Moving on to some positive news. Oof, this guy I'm falling in love with. Dalton Kincaid from the Bills. Now, Kincaid is not only one of my favorite guys to target in drafts, he's one of my favorite tight ends to target in drafts in the middle rounds. Now, let me explain. The Bills are going into the season with a rookie, Coleman, who projects to be the starter on the outside. They signed a few low-level vets like Curtis Samuel and MVS, but nothing crazy exciting. Diggs and Davis are gone. The Bills are only second, only behind the Chargers in vacated targets with 317 targets walking out the door this year. So Kincaid had a great rookie year. He looked like he built some connection with Josh Allen. Having no familiar faces to lean on in this offense, Kincaid could be in store for a monster season. Now let me get into some details here. Kincaid currently being drafted in the 5th round feels like a steal. He has the ability, and now he has the opportunity to be the overall tight end 1 in 2024. We saw a rookie in Laporta do it. There is absolutely no reason Kincaid cannot at least be, at the very least, in the conversation as the overall tight end 1. Kelsey's aging. Andrews has been hurt. You know, Laporta is due for some regression with touchdowns. So Kincaid is going to be in that conversation. He's going after tight ends like Trey McBride, Andrews, Kelsey, and Laporta. He's currently, I believe, the tight end 5 off the board. So he's an absolute steal, and he has the upside, especially with positive regression coming into the touchdown category. He only had 2 touchdowns in 2023. He has no choice but to play a huge role on this Bills offense. So this is one of my favorite targets in almost every draft, not just for tight ends, but the entire draft combined. Kincaid is my number 1 target in the middle rounds. Now moving on to, I think, everyone's fantasy darlings. I think Devon Anan he carries so much upside going into 2024. He had one of the most not only efficient seasons for a rookie running back, probably one of the running backs of all time. He was averaging 7.8 yards per carry. But, you know, here's the thing, right? We're talking about draft price. We're talking about guys you should be targeting in drafts. He is currently going off the board as the running back 8. That is way too high for my liking in my book. This guy is absolutely electric with the ball in his hands. There's no question about it. But one of my main concerns when he was being drafted into the NFL, how is he going to hold up with such a small frame? That was the big concern and knock from him coming out of college. He had obviously one of the most efficient seasons. That's great, but he was still hurt. Anan had his NFL debut in week 2 because he had a shoulder sprain. He came back week 5. He sustained another knee injury. He was on a force on the IR. Came back week 11, banged up the same knee, missed another game. HN dealt with toe and rib injuries as well. I mean, this is a guy that sustained multiple different injuries throughout the year. And we're only talking about a guy that had a little over 100 rushing attempts, okay? Now, he was efficient. There's no question about it. But we're talking about drafting someone in the 2nd round that's going to be in a committee with who was the guy that, you know, had the most rushing touchdowns in the season? Yeah, Raheem Mostert led the league in rushing touchdowns. He's not going away. This is going to be an A1, AB situation going into the season. The price point just isn't there for fantasy. It's just much too steep for me. I expect him to have an increase in volume a little bit, but again, how is he going to hold up for a 17-game season? I don't know. I'm going to be avoiding him. I'm going against the grain a little bit. I know the fantasy community in a whole is calling for this guy to be a league winner. People fell in love with him because of his efficiency last year. I am not. I'm not doing that. I'm going to put my faith in somebody else in the second round. Again, this is the second round we're talking about. I want assets that don't miss. I don't need to take a swing for the fences in the second round. I want to be swinging for the fences in the fourth, fifth, and sixth round on players that can make a difference for my team. I don't need to miss in the second round. So Devon Anan is totally off my board. He should be as well for you. All right, moving on. Jaylen Daniels. Now, let's start with rookie quarterbacks do not have a ton of success in the NFL. We've seen a lot of rookie quarterbacks struggle. Obviously, CJ Stroud last year was an outlier. He did pretty good his rookie year, but we don't have any statistical data to give you for Jaylen Daniels considering he hasn't played a snap in the NFL. But let's talk about the things we do know about Daniels, right? So he's going to be playing his first season under Cliff Kingsbury. Now, we all know where he came from. He was the head coach of the Cardinals, a QB with similar athletic ability, had some success under Kingsbury, and Kyler Murray. Kyler, in his first 2 seasons in the league, finished as a QB6 and the QB3. Most of that success can be given to his running ability. Kyler was an above average passer as well, but he really made his mark in fantasy football as a runner. As we know, in 2024, mobile QBs are a fantasy football cheat code. Even the most average passers have had success fantasy-wise due to their wheels. We've even seen seasons where Tim Tebow was startable in QB, like in quarterback one league. So Daniels will make his mark in fantasy football this year. He had 40 touchdowns to just 4 INTs at LSU. Heisman Trophy winner. He can run the football too. He's got mobility. And Daniels should hit the ground running as a NFL quarterback. I would even feel as comfortable as taking him as my lone QB with no backups in a QB1 league all season long. That's how comfortable I'm feeling about Jaylen Daniels this year. I've been beating this drum since even the Commanders drafted him. He was one of my favorite targets in dynasty leagues as well. I would have took him over anyone like Drake May, and he was my number 1 quarterback coming out. So I do like Jaylen Daniels a whole lot. Somebody you can scoop up in the 8th round. I've even seen him fall into the double-digit rounds. Obviously, people have problems drafting rookie quarterbacks and they don't want to put all their faith in him. Even more so, he's going to be a bigger discount for you in some of your leagues. And, also, if you're into that type of thing, plus 600 odds to win Rookie of the Year. Now, I think Jaylen Daniels has the tools, the opportunity, and the weapons around him to obviously compete for Rookie of the Year. Obviously, Marvin Harrison, Caleb Williams, they're all going to be in that conversation. But when we're talking about odds plus 600 for a guy like Jaylen Daniels, I think it's worth, taking a roll of the dice and see what happens. Throw some $20 on it, see what happens. I'm going to do it. You want to ride with me on that bet? So be it. But just something to think about. And one of the final guys I'm going to be talking about that I will be avoiding in 2024 drafts is Drake London. Now, let me explain a little bit. When Kirk Cousins first signed with the Falcons, my immediate thought was, I cannot wait to draft Drake London, but his price has gone crazy. I did not expect him to shoot up all the way to the 2nd round. I understand the QB improvement was, expected, but his ADP skyrocketed just a little too much of my liking. It's just a little too high. He's the wide receiver 12 right now, currently off the board, which means we are already saying that he's going to be a back end wide receiver 1. Now, don't get me wrong, he could definitely do it. I think Drake London, we've seen him flash. We've seen bits and pieces of him with the QB improvement. Can he be a wide receiver 1? Absolutely. I think that's definitely in the range of possibilities. But kind of going back to what we were talking about with Saquon Barkley, we are drafting him a lot closer to his ceiling than his floor. I think the price is just way too rich for my liking. I'm so glad that Arthur Smith is gone. Thank you. Desmond Ritter is gone. I think this offense is going to be fantastic. I can't wait to see Kyle Pitts and Drake London and Bijan and all these great weapons in Atlanta. And I'm really excited to see what these guys are going to do now that we've taken the training wheels off. But price wise, second round, he's going mid second round, late second round. No, I can't do it. It's just too rich of a price for me. This is a guy that we haven't seen anything of yet. Now we're going to put our faith in a 35-year-old quarterback coming off an Achilles tear. Yeah, I understand he got paid. That doesn't say much. Atlanta Falcons are prone to making bad decisions all the time. So, yeah, Drake London, totally off my board. Beware. Stay away from him. All right, and the final guy we're going to be talking about today before wrapping up this video, we're going to be talking about DK Metcalf. Listen, he is the cheapest we've seen him since coming into the league when we're talking about fantasy football ADP-wise. He is coming off a major discount from his inconsistency in 2023. Metcalf was ranked 5th in targets inside the 20-yard line, so touchdown positive regression is coming. Also, the Seattle Seahawks team is going to look a whole lot more different than it did last year with a new head coach, a new offensive coordinator in Ryan Grubb. Now, Grubb led a pass-happy system in the University of Washington, where he led one of the top offenses in the nation in college football. So it's easy to see a little path where where we're talking about, okay, well, he's going to have a little more touchdown upside, okay? He's also going to have a lot more touchdown volume. And hopefully we see that because, he had actually 37 catches over 20 plus yards last season. That's actually half of his catches went over 20 plus yards. So he's got explosion. He explodes with the ball in his hands. He makes big plays down the field. So if we can get a little more volume, there is an opportunity where you draft DK Metcalf at like a wide receiver 2 volume, and he could potentially be a wide receiver 1. So that's actually what we're looking for when we're drafting players. We're looking for a little upside in those middle rounds, and I think DK definitely carries that. He's definitely somebody that gets the looks around the goal line. And again, this is the Pete Carroll system. It's gone. We're not relying on a defense, and we're not running the ball 30 times a game. I understand Ken Walker's a good running back, but listen, Ryan Grubb, this is his system. He's going to be throwing the ball, and that translates to DK Metcalf, the alpha, getting those looks. So I think DK Metcalf is an awesome guy to target in the middle of the rounds. I think he's got the upside. I think he's going to get the volume. And most of all, I think people are going to be staying away from him because of what Geno Smith did last year. So look to target DK in those middle rounds. And guys, listen, if you don't believe me, why don't you go check out the video last year? Why don't we check out on the guys that I was targeting and avoiding? Listen, I might be wrong, but I doubt it. I truly doubt it. And listen, if you like fantasy football, do me a favor, sub to the channel, like, comment, subscribe. Let's get a conversation going down in the comments. Who are you avoiding? Who are you targeting in drafts? What do you think about the guys that I'm targeting and avoiding, and why? Let's get the conversation going. Guys, fantasy football is here. It is August. Draft season is upon us. We will see you in the next video. Have a good one.